4,000 paid to Nita's and Sunita's loan account, whatever the balance. After the payment of all liabilities, all outsider liability, start to payment for the capitals. So according payments for the capital should be paid according to the surplus statement. In surplus statement, we have to find the absolute surplus, and there is Sunita's surplus. Sorry, surplus capital for Sunita. That is the second partner. So we have to pay first Sunita as an surplus capital. That is rupees 20,000. Check in your cash column if you have sufficient amount to paid Sunita's surplus capital, then paid. Yes, we have a sufficient cash amount, that is the 60,000. Sorry, we have a cash balance that is 60,000. 20,000 after the payment of Sunita's and Nita's loan account, 4,000. We have a 16,000 balance in cash column, and we have to pay it first according to surplus statement to Sunita as surplus. So paid to Sunita as surplus. According to this statement, surplus statement, we have to pay 20,000, but in cash column we have only 16,000. So paid 16,000, whatever the amount present in your cash column, paid that amount first to that person. So paid to 16,000 Sunita, and reduce it from cash column as well as partner's capital amount. So 18,000 minus 16,000, balance remaining for the 64,000 for Sunita. There is no payment for Nita and Anita, so their capital balance will be carried as it is, or same amount will be carried forward for the next calculation. So nil amount or the zero balance present in your cash column, so you have to release your next realization April 19, fourth realization. Fourth realization amount will be 60,000. So if you have a sufficient cash in cash column, then paid to the surplus of Sunita, that is total amount you have to paid at this stage, that is the 20,000 according to your surplus statement, but we paid only 16,000, whatever the amount with us. That means 4,000 still she has a surplus. So paid to Sunita as surplus. As surplus, that is only 4,000 of total surplus, 4,000 from cash as well as 4,000 from Sunita's capital. So now Sunita's capital has showing 60,000 amount still in her capital balance, 60,000 for Nita and 80,000. There is no payments given to the other partners because she has an absolute surplus statement. After this payment, 56,000 remain in your cash column. You can say it is a balance available for the payment. Now we move towards again the statement, cash statement showing the distribution of cash. According to this, there are these stages we have to prefer. Absolute surplus for Sunita, this is the stage number 1, and we paid all the steps for the payment of this heading. And now we move towards the stage number 2 for the payment, surplus statement, surplus capital. According to this line, you have to pay 40,000 to Sunita and 20,000 to Nita. Among out of the 40,000, you already paid for 20,000 to Sunita in this amount. So 40,000 minus 20,000, Sunita needs to pay more 20,000, and Nita at this stage there is no payment given to Nita in the first stage. So we have to pay 20,000 to Nita. So 20,000 to Sunita and 20,000 to Nita. At this stage we should or check your cash column. Is there any sufficient amount for the Nita and Sunita? Yes, we have less paid to Sunita as Sunita and Nita as surplus capital. So it is according to stage number 2. At the stage number 2, Sunita has 40,000. Check your uh, surplus statement before payment. So 40,000 total amount. Sunita has 40,000. Out of that, we paid Sunita 20,000 first. Then now we have to pay 20,000, whatever the remaining balance in this stage, not 40,000. And Nita, we don't paid anything in this stage, the first stage. At this stage, we have to pay 20,000 to Nita. So according to this, their balance will be no payment for Anita, 80,000. 40,000 balance show balance in Sunita's capital account, and 40,000 balance in Nita's capital account, and there is only 16,000 balance in cash column after the payment of 40,000. That is called balance due or balance. Now we have to pay. Check if once you paid all the surplus of whatever the partners, you will get the same amount. Check this amount. You will get the same amount present in your surplus statement. This amount, I am highlighted this amount. Whenever we discuss this point, 80,000, 40,000, it should be matched with your surplus statement. Before continuing, check your video number 1 for this question. That is the part 1 question. Check this amount. This amount must be matched with your cash payment statement. So 80,000, 40,000, that is the proportionate capital or base capital. When we discuss this point, it should be matched with the payment of partners. So now we paid whatever the remaining balance to all partners in their profit sharing ratio. Less paid to all partners in their profit sharing ratio. Profit sharing ratio, which will be given in your question. Profit sharing ratio, that is 2:1:1. So 16,000 will be given 2:1:1. 16,000 must be paid to all partners. From this onward, it should be paid to all partners in their profit sharing ratio. So whatever their profit sharing ratio, 2:1:1. That is, so 16,000 divided by 4 into 2, 8,000 for Anita, 4,000 for Sunita, and 4,000 for Nita. You can say whatever the payment after this calculation or after the payment of all surplus, it will be in their profit sharing ratio. So 80,000 minus 8,000, that will be 72,000 remaining. Then 36,000 for Sunita, then 36,000 for Nita. So there is no cash balance present here. So we have to start March, April, May 19. There may be last realization, 5th realization are there. So realization, consider your your question, or check your question for the further headings, which is present in your video number 1. 1 lakh rupees amount present here. So paid to all partners in their profit sharing ratio, whatever be the 1 lakh. So place all partners in profit sharing ratio. Profit sharing ratio. So whatever with their profit sharing ratio, it present in your question. In this question, it is 2:1:1. So 1 lakh must be paid in this ratio. So 1 lakh divided by 4, 25,000, 50,000 50,000 for Anita, 25,000 for Sunita, and 25,000 for Nita. So whatever the balance available after the payment of surplus or asset realization, last realization, whatever the amount present here, it will be called, or it is called, realization loss. You cannot reduce their, you cannot eliminate their losses, but you can reduce with this format their losses. So 22,000 for Anita, 11,000 for Sunita, and 11,000 for Nita will be realization loss. So here your question will be stop. According to this heading, we should check or calculate first, that is the first part, calculate statement showing surplus capital. Check your question first, their ratio and the preference, or any secured liability are present in your question. Then find out the adjustment and check your asset realization. First read your question properly, then start with the calculation of surplus statement, balances, add profit loss if are present, then continue with the profit sharing ratio, unit value less proportionate, and by this way you will get the surplus, absolute surplus statement for any one person. Then find out the order of payment, and according to order of payment prepare your statement of cash, distribution of cash according to method, and arrange your columns. Paid first government liability, then paid unsecured creditors or outsider liability, then paid partners loan if present in question, then paid capital. When you start payment to capital, paid to the first absolute surplus person, and then start with the stages stage wise. So according to this there is, after particular calculation you will get the particular amounts of capital, which gives the idea when you start your calculation surplus statement, this amount must be matched with the surplus statement. After that you can pay all the partners in their profit sharing ratio, whatever be the amounts present in cash column. If you don't have any sufficient amount present in cash column, you can use pro rata for the payment of liabilities. So thank you student. This is your question number 2, which is unsolved in your question sheet.